It was a Saturday morning, the kind where the supermarket lights buzzed too bright, shelves stacked like they were ready for a magazine shoot. Everything screamed, order cans aligned, apples polished, not a speck of dust. But me and my nephew, Tommy, we didn't quite fit in that glossy world. I'm Jake, just a regular guy, and Tommy's 11, a quiet kid with a stutter that makes him choose his words like they're glass. His eyes were fixed on a chocolate cake in the bakery aisle, the kind he picks every year for his mom's birthday. It wasn't just dessert to him. It was a promise, a little piece of love he could carry home. He stood there, fingers trembling, not saying a word, just staring at it like it held the whole world. "This one okay, Uncle Jake?" he finally asked, his voice soft, barely breaking the air. I nodded. "Perfect, buddy." His smile was small, shy, but lit up the aisle. I wanted to bottle that moment, keep it safe. I didn't know it'd be gone in seconds. Then came the shadow. I saw her before Tommy did. Lydia Harper, head of the neighborhood HOA, strutting in pearls and heels that clicked like a judge's gavel. Her perfume hit like a wall, and her eyes locked on Tommy with a sneer that could curdle milk. She didn't say, "Excuse me." Lydia didn't do polite. She stepped right between us, cutting Tommy off like he was nothing. "Oh, how sweet," she said, her voice dripping with fake honey, sharp as a blade. "Is this your little helper? Or did they start letting strays in the store?" Tommy froze, still clutching the cake, his knuckles white. His lip quivered, but no words came. I stepped forward. "We're just getting a cake, ma'am. You can move on." She tilted her head, GIVYing me that looked like I just crawled out of the sewer. "I wasn't talking to you," she snapped, pointing at Tommy like he was a broken chair. Then she snatched the cake from his hands. "Chocolate," she scoffed, holding it like it was trash. "How predictable. I bet your mom would love this cheap sugar bomb, assuming she's got teeth left." Tommy's voice cracked, barely a whisper. "I just thought she'd like." Lydia rolled her eyes, and then, without a hint of hesitation, she shoved him. Not a bump, not an accident, a deliberate push. Tommy stumbled, his head slamming into the corner of a metal shelf. He crumpled to the floor, a cry escaping as blood bloomed on his forehead. The cake hit the ground, smashed under her pointed heel. The aisle went silent. Not one shopper moved. Lydia adjusted her dress, cool as ice, and pulled out her phone. "Smile, kid," she sang, recording him as he lay there, trembling. "You're about to be famous." My fists clenched, nails biting into my palms. I was MOVYing before I could think. Lydia's smirk grew as she saw me coming. "Oh, the big man's mad," she taunted, angling her phone at me. "Gonna write a nasty letter to the HOA?" I didn't answer. Words weren't enough. My feet hit the linoleum like thunder, the lights glaring down like they were daring me to act. "Pick him up," I growled. She didn't flinch, just leaned in, her voice oily. "Relax. It's not my fault your charity case can't stand straight. Maybe crawling's more his speed." That was it. Red flashed behind my eyes, not just on-air a fire alarm screaming in my soul. Nobody moved, nobody spoke, just stared as blood trickled down Tommy's face, and Lydia stood there, smug as ever. "You think this is funny?" My voice dropped low, shaking with something I barely recognized. "You think hurting a kid makes you untouchable?" She laughed, sharp and cold. "Don't make a scene. One more word, and I'll have security ban you from this whole complex. You won't even park here without my say-so." I stepped closer. She didn't back down, leaning in so close I could see the gloss on her lips, the venom in her eyes. "I run this place," she whispered. "People fear me. You? You're just a nobody with a broken kid and a short fuse." She patted my chest like I was her pet. That was the last straw. I glanced at Tommy, still on the floor, blood mixing with tears. Then I turned back to her. "No," I said, my voice steady as stone. "You don't run anything anymore." She blinked, confused, still thinking she was bulletproof. "You're bluffing," she said, stepping back just enough to balance on those ridiculous heels. "Guys like you talk tough, but you don't bite." I didn't talk. I moved. One step, and my knee slammed in her gut. Her breath exploded in a wheeze, her smirk vanishing as she doubled over, gasping. Her phone clattered to the floor. I didn't stop. As she staggered, eyes wide, I pivoted and drove my elbow into her jaw. The crack echoed like a gunshot. Lydia flew sideways, her heels snapping as she crashed into a wine display. Bottles shattered, red liquid pooling around her. She screamed, not just from pain, from fear, raw and unfamiliar. The store froze. A cork rolled across the floor, the only sound in the chaos. Then a kid whispered, "Holy crap." Phones went up, cameras flashing. Lydia lay there, dress soaked in wine and blood, mascara streaking her face. She tried to speak, but all that came was a gurgle. I stood over her, chest heaving. "I warned you," I said, my voice cutting through the air. "You touched a child. You mocked him. You laughed when he bled. You deserve worse." I stepped back, letting her see I wasn't scared, not of her, not of what came next. Sirens hummed in the distance, blue lights flickering through the windows. Lydia stayed down, trembling, her kingdom crumbling. I didn't run. I stood tall as two cops walked in, their eyes scanning the scene. Tommy was sitting up now, clutching a paper towel someone had given him, his gaze locked on me. The taller officer spoke first. "What happened?" Voices erupted, a woman saying Lydia shoved a kid, a teenager shouting it was live on TikTok. Someone held up their phone. "I got all." She attacked the boy first. The cop looked at Lydia, still sprawled in the wine. "I was assaulted," she shrieked, her voice cracking. "Arrest him. He's dangerous." The officer ignored her, turning to me. "You hit her." I nodded. "Yes." He glanced at Tommy. "That your nephew?" I nodded again. She shoved him into a shelf for touching a cake. The cop turned to Lydia. "Ma'am, any proof he touched you first?" Her mouth opened, then shut. Nobody backed her up. The officer looked at me, then at his partner. "No cuffs," he said. Then, to me, that was justice. Deserved. Lydia gasped like she'd been hit again. "You're taking a side?" she screamed. The cop leaned down. "You hurt a kid. You mocked him. You've got the right to remain silent. Use it." He stood, nodded at me. "You're free to go." Lydia's screams followed us out, not from pain, but from the gut punch of a world that no longer bowed to her. Phones were still up, fingers tapping, videos spreading like wildfire. I held Tommy close as we stepped into the night air, sharp and cold. Behind us, Lydia's voice cracked. "This isn't over. You'll regret this." But it was over. Her reign was done. By the time we got home, the clips were everywhere. 30 seconds of Lydia snatching the cake, show VYing Tommy, and me stepping in like some action hero. HOA bully picks on kid. Uncle delivers justice. One caption read. It hit 2 million VYUs by midnight. Reddit blew up. TikTok duets flooded in, and the gasp Lydia's gasp became its own meme. The news hit next. Viral VY Deo exposes HOA leader's assault on child. The headline screamed, zooming in on Lydia's bloody dress. Then came the leaked HOA email series of complaints about her harassment, threats, even racist remarks. All buried until now. I stayed quiet, didn't post, didn't gloat. I took Tommy to a diner, watched him eat fries with shaky hands and a faint smile. The bruise on his forehead was purple, but his eyes were clear. "Uncle," he whispered, "I'm not scared anymore." I gripped his hand and nodded. Lydia's world kept crumbling. Her husband tweeted he was divorcing her, ashamed. Screenshots showed him begging her to be kinder. She'd replied, "Kindness is weakness. I rule." Not anymore. Her son was pulled from his fancy school, the board citing violence and hate. The HOA ousted her, erased her name from every plaque and gate. Someone filmed them ripping her nameplate off her house. That went viral too. Posters popped up Lydia's face, cake in her hair, with the words, "She called it power. We called it abuse." Tommy saw one and asked, "Is she sorry?" I shrugged. Sorry doesn't undo damage. He nodded, and we walked on. A week later, an envelope arrived, inviting Tommy and me to speak at a Children's Protection Week event at City Hall. Tommy froze, the idea of speaking to a crowd too much. I almost said no, but he surprised me. "I want to," he said. "I think I have to." The hall was packed, reporters, parents, kids, the mayor. Tommy clutched his note cards, his new shirt a little big on him. When they called his name, he looked at me. I nodded, just like I did that day in the store. He walked to the podium, slow but steady, and the room went silent. I used to think, he started, his voice cracking, if I spoke wrong, people wouldn't listen. They'd laugh. The crowd held its breath. Someone hurt me because I'm different. But someone stood up. He looked at me, his hands steady now. And now, I'm not scared anymore. The applause roared, slow at first, then thunderous. People stood, some crying. Tommy stepped down and hugged me tight. I didn't need to say anything, said it all. Outside, someone had chalked on the sidewalk, "Real strength isn't loud, but it echoes." And it did, all the way home. Then came a knock, soft like a secret. I knew it was her. I let her wait before opening the door. Lydia stood there, a ghost in a baggy hoodie, no pearls, no steel in her eyes, just smoke. "I didn't come to fight," she rasped. "You never had to," I said. "You always struck first." She trembled. "I lost everything, me husband, my son, my home." I didn't budge. "For what?" I asked. "Say it." She swallowed. "I hurt your nephew. I mocked him. You bled a child for power." I cut in and laughed while he cried. She steadied herself against the doorframe. "I'm asking, can you forgive me?" Tommy stepped into the hallway, arms crossed, his bruises faded but his eyes sharp. Lydia's voice broke. "I didn't mean to hurt you." He didn't flinch, just stared and said, "You're not scary anymore." Her face crumpled, a sob escaping as she stumbled back into the sunlight, like a shadow burned away. We watched her go, not with hate, just peace. That night, Tommy leaned against me under the stars. "Do you think she meant it?" he asked. "Regret's not sorry," I said. "It's just losing." He nodded. "I'm glad you didn't hit her again." I looked at him. Didn't need to. She was already broken. Across the street, a new family moved into Lydia's old house. The HOA sign with her name was gone, replaced by paint on the fence. "This street belongs to the brave now." The neighborhood felt whole again. Cruelty like Lydia's hides behind pearls and perfect smiles, thriving because we let it. She expected silence that day, fed on it, thinking fear was respect. But fear isn't respect, and silence isn't justice. I didn't speak first, I moved. Because when a child bleeds and the world just watches, words aren't enough. This isn't about violence. It's about breaking cycles, drawing a line, saying, "Not here. Not today." Tommy grew through this. From a kid who flinched at stares to one who spoke to a city, his voice trembling but strong. That took more courage than anything I did. We got another cake, free from the store. This time, we shared it with neighbors, the clerk who helped Tommy, the kid who filmed it all. Community isn't gates or titles. It's protection, accountability, remembering no one's above decency. If you see someone stepped on, especially a kid, don't wait. Step in. The loudest message is the silence after a tyrant falls. So what do you think? Was I right to hit Lydia? Or should I have walked away? Would you have done the same? Or was it too far? Should Tommy have forgiven her? Or was his rejection the real justice? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this hit you hard. And subscribe if you're ready for more stories that don't hold back. Let's hear it. What would you have done in aisle 4?